So I'm really hopeful that you can at least see something right now. But that's not really the point. The point is that I'm getting the audio and just trying to make sense of what's going on. So I want to start by saying I think everybody pretty much knows that I am absolutely a supporter of this platform and this community through and through. I was brought on as a moderator for the Explore ST forum. I don't know how long ago it was now, 2 years, something like that. I've done a lot of work with everybody on the admin team and with Josh Childers of 1320 Synthetics, who runs the group. He was the group founder, and his business page actually owns Explore ST Forum. So that's something that I think most people are aware of. Obviously, he's fairly active in the group in terms of posting, commenting, pinning announcements, doing sales. He does mobile service calls, which most people know too. So over the last, I don't know, 8-10 months, something like that, there's been a lot of back and forth about different fluids and what's the best option and whatever. So that's kind of like a side note. But in the admin side, we have always done everything as like a group perspective, because for the most part, and until recently, we've all been of the same mindset that several opinions and ideas work better than just one person's opinion or an idea. And for the most part, we run things by each other. We talk about decisions that are being made, whether that's a policy that's being implemented or something else like that. And so very recently, at the beginning of January, there was a couple of posts or comments that had been deleted, and it was brought to our attention as an admin team because the person who was originally posting, it was about, I think it was actually the S&B intake post, that someone had said, like, thanks a lot, S&B, like, that is what it was. I was ripped my engine bay apart and now I'm missing parts and I have no intake and I don't want to put it all the way back together. I don't even have all the stuff. You know, and that was the point, was like, thanks a lot, S&B. Well, Josh Childers had removed the post, and then someone else posted, and I actually think it was the S&B guy or someone else was like, why is this post getting removed? And rather than it being addressed as like a group conversation or even just like a, hey, heads up, I removed this post, I contacted OP, like whatever, which is our normal procedure for the most part, Josh just deleted it and didn't say anything about it. And then it got DM'd to one of us or something and got brought to our attention. So the question was posed in our admin chat, hey Josh, did you mean to delete these? Or like, was there more information? And I think the exact words were, did you mean to delete this? And Josh took that in a certain type of way and responded with like, yeah, I meant to delete it. The guy was on there bashing, you know, S&B, and like, that's not the way to go about doing something like that, and blah, blah, blah. And like, well, he's right. Like, you should always go to a manufacturer first. If you have a problem with the manufacturer's product, ideally you don't just go, you know, onto a forum and bash them publicly in front of like 30,000 people. Ideally you go to the manufacturer and you say, hey, I'm missing parts out of my intake kit. Like, do you know anything about this? And give them the chance to correct the issue. And for the most part, that's normally what happens. Like, even if we're not going to go delete a post because someone had an issue with their order and because they're presenting it in a way that really isn't adequate. Like, it's not according to etiquette. But in this particular case, Josh just went, do you need something? Okay. Josh just went ahead and like deleted both of the posts, not just one, but 2 posts, and didn't say anything about it. There was no update or additional information. So the whole point being that it was just a question posed in our admin chat about like, did you mean to delete this? And then the discussion ensued after Josh started on how that's not how you go about something like that, blah, blah, blah. We said, well, maybe deleting the post isn't like the best thing to do. Like, we're in a public forum, like, there's other, you know, things that happen sometimes. Like, our group is pretty good about moderating itself in the sense that it will, you know, a post like that will come up and then the first 3 or 4 people to comment usually chime in with, well, did you try reaching out to S&B, whatever. And the ironic part is the guy had already OP had already commented back on there and said, SMB already reached out to me. They're overnighting my parts. Like, can't really ask for more than that. Like, the OP even said that. Like, this is what's happening. This is the resolution. So we were all kind of confused as to why, like, it needed to be deleted. And then my point, personally, was moving forward, maybe we need to come up with a more specific policy that addresses whether or not we're deleting posts, right? And so with that being the conversation at hand, Josh, like, lost his mind. And there's really no other way to put that. Like, it really was as simple as it sounds. Like, I'm not, like, I mean, there's screenshots somewhere, I'm sure, we can go back through the chat. But ultimately what happened was Josh didn't want to have a conversation about whether or not we should delete posts. Josh very much took the approach that it's his group and he's going to run it how he wants, and that he doesn't believe in bashing, you know, a manufacturer like that and putting something like that up for people to see. And that was like his call. Now, mind you, there are other situations in which we have deleted people's posts and done things like that. And a lot of times it has to do with not following proper procedure, too much self-promotion, or just other things that have happened within the community that have led to a manufacturer not being trustworthy or reliable. And then there's this other side of it too, where, to be honest with you guys, we on the admin side spend a pretty significant amount of time filtering through requests to join, comment approvals, post approvals, member reported content, like all this stuff. It's a lot. And especially with posts and stuff that they don't go viral necessarily, but they do get really popular. And we've got, you know, thousands of comments or hundreds of comments on posts from people that aren't even in the page because we're a public group. So it is a pretty significant time consumption issue. But we spend a lot of time on the group, and we do really put a lot of effort into making sure that the content that's on the page is relevant, that it follows guidelines, that it makes sense, that it's interesting, and that it's not repetitive. And we try to monitor most of the internet trolling that, you know, for the most part, that as much as we can, but there is also only so much we can do. Josh, at whatever point, so I don't know where I'm headed with that. Oh, but so the point is that, sorry. So in that sense, we all put a lot of time into it. And to be honest with you guys, we don't really get a whole lot out of it. Like, Tyler does have like kind of free reign to post his posts, which he does anyway, and get, you know, his promo codes out there or whatever, his referral codes. But he's always very, very clear about the fact that he does receive a portion of whatever the sale is for the use of his promo code or his affiliate link. He does get a small portion of that back. And that's how Tyler pays his bills. And that's part of the reason that Tyler puts so much time into things like the forum. But if I'm going to be completely honest, and it's not just because I'm friends with Tyler, but like, the 30,000 member Facebook group is not shit compared to any of Tyler's other accounts. So putting that in perspective, he's probably got half or less as much of an audience on that Facebook group as he does on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all three combined. Forget it. Like, he has his reach elsewhere. So I'm not saying that in a perspective of I feel like Tyler doesn't need it, because I think that every drop in the bucket helps. But I'm saying that in a perspective of like, for none of us is this like our bread and butter, right? Like, we're not getting a ton out of it. Like, I don't have any sponsorship. I don't have any discount. I don't do anything Explorer-wise from that group, and from anywhere else for that matter, except for doing beta testing with ZFG, and that is a whole different thing that has absolutely nothing to do with the group. Everything I've ever done has been at my own expense, whether that be time, emotional energy, or financial. So the point that I'm making here is we put a significant amount of time into this group and have essentially built it for Josh and for 1320 Synthetics. And as a result of a conversation about whether or not he intended to delete a post and about whether or not we should be deleting posts, he walked away from the admin chat. He literally just left the admin chat and then started kind of going after us in this like really bizarre gaslighting type of way. And that's where it's become really concerning over the last 2.5, 3 weeks, as we've noticed since he left the admin chat, he's been gaslighting. Either all of us are individually totally going out of his way to make sure that he's saying things and talking about things in other places, or leaving little comments and gestures that we would see to, I think, try and like rile us up, which it has been a little bit disturbing, I think is the word that I would use there. But generally it's like watching a 9-year-old melt down because they didn't get their way. And I think ultimately that's what happened here, is that Josh really just thought that at that point in time, the best course of action was to delete those posts. And then when he was asked if he intended to do it and if there was reasoning behind it, he felt like he was being questioned. And rather than having a conversation about, you know, I'm feeling attacked because I'm being questioned, but I also understand that like we run a group together and that there's a lot of effort and time put into this, and that this is a conversation that actually probably should be had because we are, you know, in this position together. Like he didn't like that, and he didn't want to have to answer to anybody or give anyone's insider opinion. So he left. He literally left the admin chat. He has had zero, other than like removing a couple of member reported things in his service call chat and doing like 1 or 2 other things. He's done nothing for the group in terms of like his administrative role. And beyond this month when this all started, his role on the backside of the group and the admin side has been very minimal anyways. So to be completely transparent with everyone, Josh does have engagement in the group and Josh does contribute to the group, but at the same time, his role within running the group is ultimately nil compared to everybody else. I mean, it's nothing. And really, realistically, the best thing he ever did for the group in terms of running it was handed it over to Tyler. And that happened 4 years ago, maybe more. And he literally said to Tyler, can you admin this group? I think you're going to do a great job building it. I really think you're the right man for the job. I trust your judgment and insight. Like, go do it. And that is kind of where it's all come together, is that Tyler has pieced together our admin team with some insight from other people. And this has been Tyler's role. And today, I get on the ST forum and all of a sudden there's a whole post about it's the 5th birthday and also welcome to our new admin. No offense, like I don't know this Mark guy. I've never met him or interacted with him at all. I looked at his post history. It's very minimal. He's posted twice in the group. He's only been in it since September of 2023. I don't think anyone knows the guy. And whatever that means to somebody, that's cool. But in addition to that, don't you think you would like talk to your admin team, your existing admin team, about like, hey, I'm gonna add this guy, like whatever. So it's very much, I think I feel very attacked, first of all, by the whole thing. And second of all, I feel so unappreciated. It's not even funny. Like, I'm not one to get super in my feelings about stuff, but when I'm being shysted by somebody, that's when I get mad. And that's the feeling that I have right now, is I totally feel like I've been shafted. I've been played for a fool, whatever you want to call it. I think that it's the ultimate form of betrayal, honestly, because Josh didn't get his way. He's having a piss poor me party, like whatever, pity party, whatever you want to call it. That's what he's doing. And so this is his like ultimate form of, I'm going to really stick it to you, is by putting someone else in the admin group who you don't know, that you don't interact with. And that's what I'm going to do. At this point, I'm out. I cannot continue to support 1320 Synthetics, Josh Childers, nor the Explorer ST Forum. I've done logo design for that group. I have put so much time and effort and shared so much information in that group that it's like absolutely disgusting. But I'm not doing it anymore. I'm done. So I hope that everybody understands that I don't expect like a farewell. I'm not saying this to say I'm significant. I'm saying this also that you guys have a perspective of this man who you don't know, that is coming to your home and servicing your $60,000 vehicle plus, that he is not in this for anybody's benefit but his own. And he has made that incredibly clear over the course of the last month. And it is a sudden change in his behavior. Let me add that. This is not something that has been ongoing. This is not something that, you know, for a long time we've been like, I'm kind of concerned. I mean, it's been a growing concern of ours as we've seen different sides of him over the last like 6 months, but nothing huge, nothing like, oh, this guy's going to be a problem. Like nothing that says like anything along those lines. The last month though has been alarming to say the least. So please understand, that's why I'm sharing all of this. That's why I'm trying to give the perspective and the background, because my ultimate thing is don't put people in a bad position. Like, I really don't believe in doing that, especially as a business person. You don't intentionally put people in a bad position. And that's exactly what Josh Childers has done. And that's what he's obviously continuing to do. Just out of my own passion for this community and for honestly protecting my own self-interest. Like, I give so much of a shit about these cars, like it's not even, it doesn't even make sense. Like, they're stupid. They're like giant mom hauler, dad hauler, whatever you want to call it. Like, they're family size SUVs that we have worked really fucking hard to figure out how to make them fast. And that's the point that we're at, is like, we have figured out how to make these things fast, and it's just going faster and faster and faster. And now there's this random shark in the water who has obviously gotten his head blown way out of proportion. Like, we're talking about someone who doesn't even own an Explorer ST right now. He doesn't even own a Ford product, to my knowledge. So this is so besides the point, and now I'm being petty, but like, hopefully everything in this video, vlog, whatever, has been succinct and made sense. And I really hope that I don't sound like a crazy person, because every time I've thought about this for the past month and about how much all of this bothers me, and why it bothers me, it has made me feel a little bit like a crazy person. But I also realize, as a pretty non-emotional person and as someone who's pretty rational most of the time, I tend to be more logic-based. I think pretty analytically. The fact that it is bothering me is a huge red flag in and of itself. So that's what I will share, and I do hope that this made sense, and I really do genuinely hope that someone takes something away from this. I can't speak for too many people in this world in terms of like vouching for them, but I will absolutely vouch for Tyler Clark, Candace Flores, Teresa Moore, over and over again. They are amazing people who, working with them over the last 2 years or whatever it's been, has been an absolute pleasure. And I think that those three people specifically, in the context of the conversation that's one-sidedly being had right now, have contributed so much to me in terms of like my life and personal enjoyment and relationships. Also, growth in the platform, which is a huge goal of mine. I don't care what it looks like as long as it's healthy. But they have contributed so much, and they really are people who are trustworthy and reliable and honest, and can be there when there's a disagreement, and like they're willing to work through those things like grown adults do, and have conversations that are uncomfortable sometimes, and have disagreements without wanting to kill somebody, or without sabotaging them. And that's where we're at. So anyway, I'm going to be done talking. I feel like I've gotten so much out here that I don't even know if it's all going to make it to the video, but I hope this gives someone something. Thanks, guys.